Alright, so chapter 4 is ought to be a big chapter. Um, we might do it in parts or we might take breaks in between. And this one mostly talks about post Mauryan trends in Indian art and architecture. So let's get into it. Starting off from the 2nd century BCE onwards, various rulers established their control over the vast Mauryan empires. The Shungas, the Kanwas, Kushanas. Kushanas were basically from the Central Asian region, and these were inhabited by Yuzuki people. I think that's what they called themselves. Then there are the Guptas in the north and central of and the parts of central India. There are Satvanas, Ikshvakus, then Abhiras, Vakatakas in the southern and the western India. Incidentally, the period of the 2nd century BCE also marked the rise of main Brahminical sects such as the Vaishnavas and Shaivas. These are the numerous sites dating back in the 2nd century BCE India. Some of the prominent examples of the finest sculpture are found at Vidisha in Madhya Pradesh and Bharat in Madhya Pradesh, Bodh Gaya in Bihar, Jagayapeta in Andhra Pradesh, Mathura in Uttar Pradesh, Khandgiri, Udgiri near Odisha, Bhaja near Pune, and Pavani near Nagpur in Maharashtra. Let's start off with Bharat. Bharat sculptures are tall, like the image of Yaksha and Yakshini in Mauryan period. Modeling of the sculptural volume in the low relief, maintaining linearity. Images stick to the picture plane in the relief panels depicting narratives. Illusion of three-dimensionality is shown with tilted perspective. Clarity in the narratives is enhanced by selecting main events. At Bharat, narrative panels are shown with fewer characters, but as the time progresses apart from the main character in the story, others also start appearing in the picture space. At times, more than one event at one geographical place is clubbed in the picture space, or only a single main event is depicted in the pictorial space. Look at this one. This looks like the Dharma Chakra, but isn't exactly. This is Yakshini. This is like the, I guess, I think this picture depicts the birth of Lord Buddha, and this is his mother Maya under a sal tree at Lumbini, Nepal. But let's see. Clarity in the narrative is enhanced by selecting main events. At Bharat, narrative panels are shown with fewer characters, but as the time progresses, apart from the main character in the story, others also start appearing in the picture space. At times, more than one event at one geographical place is clubbed in the picture space, or only a single main event is depicted in the pictorial space. We've read this. This is Yakshini at Bharat. Fine. Availability of space is utilized to the maximum by the sculptors. Folded hands in the narratives, as well as single figures of the Yaksha and Yakshini, are shown flat, clinging to the chest. Here, folded hands. But in some cases, especially in later times, the hands are shown with the natural projection against the chest. Such examples show how artisans who were working at a collective level had to understand the method of carving, initially dressing the surface of the stone slabs, and appears as the main concern. Later, the human body and other forms were sculpted. Due to the shallow carving of the picture surface, projection of hands and feet was not possible. Hence, the folded hands and awkward positions of the feet. There is a general stiffness in the body and arms, but gradually such visual appearances was modified by making images with deep carvings, pronounced volumes, and a very naturalistic representation of human and animal bodies. Sculptures at Bharat Bodh Gaya, Sanchi Stupa, 2, and Jagayapeta are good examples. Jagayapeta is in Andhra Pradesh. Look at these. This resembles a deer. Looks like an oxen. There are some figures. One is in a praying state. This is a reclining Buddha. There's an elephant. Alright, there's some leaves. Queen Maya's dream. Berat. Okay, this is not Buddha, this is Queen Maya. Sorry for my mistake. She dreamt of a white elephant while she was pregnant with Buddha. And this is the Jataka panel at Berat. Narrative reliefs at Berat show how artisans used the pictorial language very effectively to communicate stories in one such narrative, showing Queen Maya Devi's, mother of Siddharth Gautama, dream. A descending elephant is shown, the queen is shown reclining on the bed, whereas an elephant is shown on the top, heading towards the womb of Queen Maya Devi. On the other hand, the depiction of Jataka story is very simple, narrated by clubbing events according to the geographical location of the story, like the depiction of Ruru Jataka, where the Bodhisattva deer is rescuing a man on his back. Alright, this is interesting. The other event is the same picture frame depicts the king standing with the army and about to shoot an arrow of the deer. Within one picture only, there are multiple events, as you can see. And the man who was rescued by the deer is also shown along with the king pointing a finger at the deer. According to the story, the man promised the deer after his rescue that he would not disclose his identity to anybody. But when the king makes a proclamation of reward for disclosing the identity of the deer, he turns hostile and takes the king to the same jungle where he had seen the deer. Okay, this is a very selfish behavior. Such Jataka stories became part of stupa decorations. This is like give. This is like telling you what the consequences of greed can be. Interestingly, with the rise in the construction of stupa in various parts of the country, regional stylistic variations also begun to emerge. One main characteristic is also the male images of 1st, 2nd centuries BCE in the knotted headgear. In many sculptures, it is very consistent. Some of the sculptures found at Berat are displayed in Indian Museum at Kolkata. There's National Museum in Delhi, and then there's another museum at Chennai. This is the basically this is the model of the stupa. There is an anda which protects the relics that are inside it. This is harmika, and there's a chhatri. They're usually this is like 3 or 4 disc long. This is the gateway. There are 4 gateways. This is the Vedika. This is the Medi where the circumambulation. This is the Medi basically. Yakshas are installed here. Torans are there, which depicts stories from Jatakas. This is Paradikshana, Patha, where circumambulation is done. Right. Sachi. Next phase of sculptural development at Sachi Stupa 1, Mathura and Vengi in Andhra Pradesh, Guntur district is noteworthy in stylistic progression. Stupa 1 at Sachi has upper as well as lower Paradikshinapata or circumambulatory path. It has 4 beautifully decorated torans depicting various events from the life of Buddha and Jataka. Figure compositions are in high relief, filling up the entire space. Depiction of postures gets naturalistic and there is no stiffness in the body. Heads have considerable projection in the picture space. Rigidity in the contours get reduced and images are given movement. Narrations get elaborated. Carving techniques appear more advanced than Bharat. Symbols continue to be used representing the Buddha. At Sachi Stupa 1, narratives get more elaborated. However, the depiction of the dream episode remains very simple, showing the reclining image of the queen and the elephant at the top. The historical narratives, such as the siege of Kushinaras, Buddha's visit to Kapilavastu, visit of Ashoka to the Ram uh, Grama stupa, are carved with considerable detail. In Mathura, images of the spirit bear the same quality but are different in depiction of physiogenomic details. So basically, the stories and the figurines have adapted as per the regional traditions and culture. This is the stone carving at Stupa 1 at Sanchi in see the elephant, and this is the part of railing at Sangol. She's standing over an elephant, the Yakshini. Mathura, Sarnath, and Gandhara schools. The 1st century CE onwards, Gandhara, now in Pakistan, Mathura in northern India, and Wingi in Andhra Pradesh emerged as important centers of art production. Buddha is the symbolic form, got a human form in Mathura and Gandhara. The sculptural tradition in Gandhara had the confluence of Bactria is in Afghanistan, Parthia, and local Gandhara traditions. The local sculptural traditions of Mathura became so strong that the traditions spread to other parts of northern India. The best example in this regard is the stupa sculptures found at Sangol in Punjab. The Buddha image at Mathura is modeled on the lines of earlier Yakshaka images, whereas at Gandhara it has Hellenistic features from Greece basically. Early Jain Tirthankara images, which are like the 4 major Jain gurus, and portraits of kings, especially the headless Kanishka, are found from Mathura. Images of Vaishnava, mainly Vishnu and his various forms, and Shaiva, mainly the lingas and Mukhalingas, faiths, are also found at Mathura, but Buddhist images are found in large numbers. It may be noted that the images of Vishnu and Shiva are represented by their ayudhayas, the weapons. There is boldness in carving, the large images. The volume of the image is projected out of the picture plane. The faces are round and smiling. Heaviness in the sculptural volume is reduced to relaxed flesh. The garments of the body are clearly visible and they cover the left shoulder. Images of Buddha, Yaksha, Yakshini, Shaivite, and Vaishnavite deities and portrait statue are profusely sculpted. In the 2nd century CE, images in Mathura get sensual and rotundity increases. They become fleshier, more curvaceous. I believe the trend continues. So basically, rotundity is like it gives you a more round and plump, or like they are more full in their forms. Okay, more curvaceous. The trend continues in the 4th century CE, but in the late 4th century CE, the massiveness and the fleshiness is reduced further and the flesh becomes more tightened. The volume of the drapery also gets reduced and is in the 5th and the 6th century CE, the drapery is integrated into the sculptural mass. The transparent quality in the robes of Buddha images is evident. In the period, 2 important schools of sculptures in northern India are worth noting. The traditional center we talked about, Mathura, remained the main art product site, whereas Sarnath and Kosambi also emerged as centers of art production. Many Buddha images in Sarnath have plain transparent drapery covering both shoulders and halo around the head, has very little ornamentation, whereas Mathura Buddha images continue to depict folds of drapery in the Buddha images and halo around the head in profusely decorated. One can visit museums at Mathura, Sarnath, Varanasi, New Delhi, Chennai, Amravati, etc., to study the features of um, early sculptures. Look, there's a halo. This is the Mathura Buddha, Gandhara, 3rd or 4th to 4th century CE. This is the Bodhisattva Gandhara from 5th to 6th century. Okay, the features look so prominent here. Look at the drapery. This is most simple. Among the important stupas sites outside the Gangetic Valley is Devni Mori in Gujarat. In the subsequent centuries, sculptures had little variations, while slender images with transparent drapery remained a dominant aesthetic sensibility. Buddhist monuments of southern India. Vengi in Andhra Pradesh has many stupa sites like Jagayapeta, Amravati, Bhatti Porulu, Nagarju, Junkonda, Goli, etc. Amravati has a Mahachaitya and had many sculptures which are now preserved in Chennai Museum. We talked about this earlier. Amravati Site Museum, National Museum, New Delhi, and the British Museum, London. Like the Sachi Stupa, the Amravati Stupa has Paradakshinapatha enclosed within a Vedika on which the many narrative sculptures are depicted, where you do the circumambulation, you go around the stupa. The domical stupa structure is covered with relief stupa, sculptural slabs, which is a unique feature. The Torana of Amravati stupa has disappeared over a period of time. Events from the life of Buddha and Jataka stories are depicted. Though in the Amravati stupa there is evidence of construction activity in the 3rd century BCE. It was the best developed in the 1st and the 2nd century CE. Like Sachi, the earlier phase is devoid of Buddha um, images, but during the later phase, in 2nd and the 3rd century CE, the Buddha images are carved on the drum slabs, and at the many other places. Interior space in the composition is created by different postures of the figure, such as semi back, profile, frontal, semi frontal, etc. Sculptural form in this area is characterized by intense emotions. Figures are slender, have a lot of movement. Bodies are shown with three bent, three bhanga. It's like an S shaped. Um, it's moving from one spot to another. It's changing it 3 times. And the sculptural composition is more complex than at Sachi. Linearity becomes flexible. Dynamic movement breaks the stasis of forms. This is the carving on the wall of a stupa Amravati. There's like a panel, and then there are different stories. And look at this one. This looks like a stupa, the under of the stupa, and on the toran there are so many figurines, and this looks like a lion. There are basically 4 lions that we can spot. The Buddha in the middle. This is the Harmika, and then the Chhatri. It's like the gateway. Stupa drum slab Amravati 2nd century CE. This is interesting. The idea of creating 3-dimensional space in the relief sculpture is devised by using pronounced volume, angular bodies, and complex overlapping. However, absolute attention has been paid to the clarity of form despite its size and role in the narrative. Narratives are profusely depicted, which include events from the life of Buddha and Jataka stories. There are a number of Jataka scenes that have not been completely identified. In the depiction of the birth events, the queen is shown reclining on a bed surrounded by female attendants, and a small sized elephant is carved on the upper frame of the composition, showing the dream of the queen Mahadevi. In another relief, 4 events related to the birth of the Buddha are shown. These represent varied ways of depicting the narratives. The animated movements in the figures get reduced in sculptures of Nagarjuna Konda and Goli in the 3rd century, even within the relatively low relief volume than in Amravati sculptures. Artists at Nagarjuna Konda and Goli managed to create the effect of protruding surfaces of the body, which is suggestive in nature and look very integral. Independent Buddha images are also found at Amravati, Nagarjuna Konda, and Gontapalle in Andhra Pradesh. Nagarjuna Konda and Gontapalle, I'm sorry for repeating it once again. Coming back, uh, Guntapalle is a rock cut cave near Elururu, so on the eastern side. Small epistle and circular chaitya have been excavated belonging to 2nd century BCE. The other important sites where rock cut stupas have been excavated is Ankapalle near Vishakhapatnam, in Karnataka, Sanati in Gulbarga district, in the largest stupa site excavated so far. It also has a stupa like the one in Amravati decorated with sculptural relief. This looks like a basket. Pandul at Nagarjuna Konda in Andhra Pradesh. Alright. This appears to be three-dimensional in its form, despite being in a panel. Construction of a large number of stupa does not mean that there were no structured temples or viharas or chaityas. We do get evidences, but no structured chaityas or viharas survived. Among the important structured vihara mentioned may be made of the Sachi apsidal chaitya structure, Temple 18, which is simple shrine temple having front pillars and halls at the back. Similar structured temples at Guantapalle are also worth mentioning. Along with the images of Buddha, other Buddhist images of Bodhisattva like Avilokteshvara, Padmapani, Vajrapani, Amitabha, Maitreya Buddha started getting sculpture. So Maitreya Buddha is like the last Buddha that is to come in the future. Amitabh, I can't really say, but I didn't know that Amitabh means Buddha because Amitabh Bachchan is so popular. And Vajrapani is basically beholder of the thunderbolt. It's in an aggressive form. Pani is like the holder and Vajra is the thunderbolt. So one that holds the thunderbolt is called Vajrapani, and to the opposite of this is the Padmapani, which is more calm and serene in nature. And then there is Avilokteshvara, which is a representation of Buddha on a lotus flower, alright, with again serene features. Now, however, the rise of Vajrayana Buddhism have Bodhisattva images were added as part of the personified representation of certain virtues or qualities as propagated by Buddhist religious principles for welfare of the masses. Cave tradition in Western India. In Western India, many Buddhist caves dating back to the 2nd century BCE onwards have been excavated. Mainly three architectural types were executed: episdal vault roof chaitya halls found at Ajanta, Pita. They basically they have ante rooms as well. You just go around it, and behind this also there you'll find a chamber. That's the speciality of the Ajanta Chaitya. Found at Ajanta and Pitalkhora and Bhaja is near Pune. Again, epistle vault roof pillarless halls found at Thanar Nadsur in Maharashtra, and flat roofed quadrangular halls in a circular chamber at the back found at Kondivite in Maharashtra. I was not aware of this one. This is certainly new to me. The front of the Chaitya hall is dominated by motif of a semicircular Chaitya arch with an open front which has a wooden facade, and is some cases there is no dominating Chaitya arch window found, as found at Kondivite In all Chaitya caves, a stupa at the back is common. This is like a square shaped. I do not know why they're calling it a rectangular room, because at Ajanta basically the design is square. And at Vihara you'll find this will be missing, and this particular hall will be used as a prayer room, or like a place to study by the priest and the monk. And on the sides you will find paintings or murals, and on the left and the right sides there would be small cells or rooms where the monks would spend their most of the time sleeping, studying, praying, and living. Right, these were like the quarters. uh, Moving ahead, in all Shaitya caves there's a stupa at the back common. This is a rock cut cave. You see, it's embedded within the rock, and there are pillars. They have hollowed it out. Um, Moving ahead, in the first century CEE, unfinished Chaitya cave at Kanheri, there's a Chaitya hall at Karla. In the first century BCE, some modifications were made to the standard plan of the apsidal vault roof variety, where the hall becomes rectangular like at Ajanta cave number 9. Alright, maybe I'm getting it wrong. This is the Nasik cave number 3 with a stone screen wall as a facade. It also found at Betsa, Nasik, Karla, and Kanheri. Many cave sites have the standard first type of Chaitya halls in the subsequent period. In Karla, the biggest rock cut Chaitya hall was excavated. The cave consists of an open courtyard with two pillars, a stone screen wall to protect from rain, a veranda, a stone screen wall as facade, an epistle walled roof, Chaitya hall with pillars and stupa at the back. Karla Chaitya hall is decorated with human and animal figures. They are heavy in their execution and move in the picture space. Further elaboration over the Karla Chaitya hall plan is observed at Kanheri cave number 3. Though the cave's interior is not fully finished, it shows how carving progressed from time to time. Subsequently, the quadrangular flat roofed variety became the most preferred design and is extensively found at many places. This is the Chaitya at Bhaja, Maharashtra. Look, this is also a rock cut one, embedded inside a cave or a mountain. This is basalt rock. So during that time, basalt is like a kind of a volcanic rock, and it used to be softer back in the day, and with time it got hardened. So viharas are excavated in all the cave sites. The plan of vihara consists of a veranda, a hall, and cells around the wall of the halls. Some of the important vihara caves are Ajanta cave number 12, Betsa cave number 11, Nashik cave number 3, 10, 17. Many of the early vihara caves are carved with interior decorative motifs like Chaitya arches and Vedika designs over the cell doors of the cave. Facade design at Nashik, cave number 3, 10, 17 became a distinctive achievement. The Vihara caves at Nashik were excavated with front pillar, caved with Ghata base and Ghata capital with human figures. One such Vihara cave was also excavated at Junar in Maharashtra, which is popularly known as Ganesh Shelani because of an image of Ganesha belonging to a later period was installed in it. This is interesting information for me. Later, a stupa was added at the back of the hall of the vihara and it became a Chaitya vihara. The stupa in 4th and 5th century CE have Buddha images attached. Junar has the largest cave excavation, more than 200 caves around the hills of the town, whereas Kanheri in Mumbai has 108 excavated caves. The most important sites are Ajanta, Pithalkhora, Ellora, Nashik, Bhaja, Junnar, Karla, Kanheri, Ajanta, Ellora, Kanheri. Um, Kanheri has been repeated twice. Wonder why. Continue to flourish. Okay, Ajanta, Ellora, and Kanheri continue to flourish. Forgive me, I forgot. I didn't see the full stop. View of the Ajanta caves. Look, so many Buddhist caves. This is also rock cut. Now we'll talk about Ajanta. The most famous cave site is Ajanta. It is located in the Aurangabad district of Maharashtra state. Ajanta, so this was like on the important ancient trade routes at the time, and basically it protected the monks living here from rain and wear and tear and elements and bad weather, um, especially during Chaturmasa time, when the monsoons hit the region. Ajanta has 29 caves. It has 4 Chaitya caves, datable to the earlier phase, the second and the first century BCE, cave 10 and 9 and later phase, the 5th century BC, cave 19 and 26. It has large Chaitya Vihara and is decorated with sculptures and paintings. Ajanta is the only surviving example of paintings of the 1st century BCE and 5th century CE. The caves at Ajanta, as well as the Western Deccan in general, have no precise chronology because of the lack of the known dated inscription. So, like, cave 1 and 2 have been built much later, and the cave 9 is probably built much earlier. So, there's no fixed chronology. Yes, so there is earlier phase which was dedicated to the Theravada Buddhist, which was more simple, and there was lack of Buddha's image, and more geometric forms were used, which were dedicated to Buddhism. And then there's the later phase, which is dedicated to the Mahayana sect, which shows Buddha in its grand form. There are paintings, there are murals, right? So, cave number 10, 9, 12, 13 belong to the early phase. Cave number 11, 15, and 6, upper and lower, and cave number 7 belong to the phase earlier than the 5th century CE. The rest of the caves belong to the late 5th century CE to 6th century CE. The Chaitya cave number 19 and 26 are elaborately carved. Uh, their facade is decorated with Buddha and Bodhisattva images. They are of the epicidal vault roof variety. Cave number 26 is a very big, and the entire interior hall is carved with variety of Buddha images, and the biggest one being the Mahaparinibbana image. The rest of the caves are Vihara Chaitya caves. They consist of pillared veranda, pillared hall, cells along the wall. The back wall has the main Buddha shrine. The shrine images at Ajanta are grand in size. Some of the Vihara caves are unfinished, such as cave number 5, 14, 23, 24, 28, 29. So basically, these were constructed by um, 3 kingdoms. The Vakatakas were the first, and later came the Chalukyas of the Badami, ruling from who were ruling from Badami, and then they were the Rashtrakutas who later came about. Right. Among the important patronage of at Ajanta were Varhadeva, patron of cave number 16, and Prime Minister of the Varkataka king Hari Sinha. Upendra Gupta, patron of cave number 17 to 20. The local kings of the region and feudatory of Vakataka king Hari Sena, Buddha Bhadra, patron of cave number 26, and Mathura Das, patron of cave number 4. Many paintings have survived in cave number 1, 2, 16, and 17. There's not much information about Harisena, but probably one of his court. Uh, okay, he has been. I've been a little confused about Bana being one of the court poets, but I'm not sure who he um, belonged to. I'm probably confusing it with Harsha. But Harisena was also one of the court poets, if I'm not wrong. Then this is the sculptural panel in veranda, cave number 2 at Ajanta. Look, these figures from the Mahayana sect. Paintings of Buddha, Yashodhara, and Rahul, the wife and the son, cave number 17, where he. Okay, so this painting shows that after he left everything, he came back to his kingdom as an ascetic, and then he just had one bowl and he was begging from his own family for alms. This is what this picture shows. Paintings have a lot of typological variation outwards. Projections are used. In the Ajanta paintings of the 5th century CE, lines are clearly defined and a very rhythmic body color gets merged with outer lines, creating the effect of volume. The figures are heavy, like the sculptures of Western India. The caves of the early phase also have paintings, especially cave number 9 and 10. They belong to the 1st century BCE. The figures are brought with heavy proportion and arranged in the picture space in a linear way. In cave number 9, lines are sharp, colors are limited. Uh, this is like a fresco painting. We call it fresco, which is like on the dry plaster, we use pigments and bind it with the help of glue and raisins. Alright, so that they can survive for a long time. Figures in these caves are painted with considerable naturalism. There is no over stylization. Events are grouped together according to their geographical location. Tiered, horizontally arranged figures appear as a convenient choice of the artisans. I don't know why this is vertical in that case. Separation of geographic locations has been indicated by using outward architectural bands. Figures appear like the Sachi stupa, the Sachi sculptures, which indicate how the lithic um, and painting traditions were. Lithic is like basically the written form, were progressing simultaneously. The frontal knot of the headgear of the figures follow the same pattern as that of the sculptors. However, there are a few different patterns of headgear. This is the Apsara with the turban at Ajanta. There were several Apsaras. The second phase of the painting can be studied from the images of the Buddha painted over walls and pillars of cave number 10 and 9. These Buddha figures are different from figures painted in 5th century CE. Such development in the paintings need to be understood in the context of the religious requirements. Cave excavation and paintings were simultaneous processes, and dating of the painting follows the date of the cave excavation. The next stage of development is observed mainly in paintings of cave number 16, 17, 1 and 2. However, it does not mean that pictures had not been painted in other caves. In fact, almost in all finished excavation, pictures have been painted, but very few have survived. Paintings have typological variations in these caves. It may also be observed that various skin colors are used in the paintings, such as brown, yellowish, greenish, yellow, ochre, etc., which represent a multicolored population. Alright. This is the painted ceiling at cave number 10. So there are multiple Buddha images, probably describing a story or a life event. This is paintings at Ajanta, multiple. They are like some 8 to 12 or something like. There are multiple forms of Buddha. This is what this is trying to depict. Paintings of cave number 16 and 17 have precise and elegant painterly quality. They do not bear the ponderous volume of the sculpture in the cave. Movement in the figures are very rhythmic. Brown, thick, dark lines are used as contours. Lines are forceful and full of energy. Attempts are also made to give highlights in the figural compositions. The paintings of cave number 1 and 2 are very orderly and naturalistic, well integrated with the sculptures in the cave. Architectural settings is simple and arrangement of figures is delineated in the circular form to create three dimensionality and the special effects. Half closed, elongated eyes are employed. Different guilds of artisans seem to have worked on the painting of these caves, which can be inferred from their typological and stylistic variation. Naturalistic postures and unexaggerated facial features are used as exceptional types. The themes of the paintings are the events from the life of Buddha, the Jataka, the Avadanas. I'm not sure what Avadana is, but alright. Some paintings, such as Simhala, Avadana, Mahajanaka, Jataka, and Vidhur Pandita Jataka, cover the entire wall of the cave. It is worth noting that the Chandanta Jataka has been painted in the early cave number 10, and many details and events grouped according to their geographical locations. So, I guess we would like to, it is recommended that you go through each of these Jatakas and try to understand what their story was. Event that happened in the jungle and events that happened in the palace are separated by their location. In cave number 10, Chandata Chadanta faithfully follows the Pali texts, whereas the one painted in cave 17 is very different. The part of Mahajanaka Janaka panel, cave number 1, Najanta. This is about basically a king who left everything, if I'm not wrong. But it's better that you go and search it up again. In one of the events, the Bodhisattva, Chandata, is shown removing his own tusk and giving it to the hunter, Sonutar. I think we have discussed this. Basically, for the human, his wife that was reborn as human, reborn as a human queen, he avenged the shame that it was like a kind of vengeance, let's say. The other important paintings are the famous Padmapani and Vajrapani in cave number 1. These are not just paintings, these are also in sculpture form. However, it may be observed that the images of Padmapani and Vajrapani are very common in Ajanta, but the best preserved paintings are in cave number 1. Some figures in cave number 2 have affliction with the Vengi sculptures, and same time the influence of Vidarbha sculptural tradition is also observed in the delineation of some sculptures. The subsequent development of the painting tradition has been discussed in the next chapter. Now we have Alora. So these have Alora is very special because it has Buddhist, Chaitya, and Vihara, which is like more evolved in its form. Then there are Hindu temples, especially the Kailasha temple, which is very famous. Um, and there's Rameshwara as well, beautiful. And they have like Shaivite, the temples which are dedicated to the Shaivite tradition. Then we have some Jaina monasteries in the end as well. The only spot where all the three religions have a confluence. Another important cave site located in Aurangabad district is Alora. So sorry for the notification. Yeah, it is located 100 kilometers from Ajanta and has 34 Buddhist, Brahmanical and Jaina caves. It is unique art historical site in the country as it has monasteries associated with the three religions dating from the 5th century CE onwards and 11th century CE. It is also unique in terms of the stylistic eclecticism, confluence of the many styles at one place. The caves of Ellora and Aurangabad show the ongoing differences between the two religions, Buddhism and Brahmanical. These have been later supported by Rashtrakuta kings. So yeah, there are 12 Buddhist caves having many images belonging to Vajrayana Buddhism like Tara, Mahamayuri, Ashoka Bhaya, Avilokateshvara, Maitreya, Amitabha, Buddhist cave. Wait, before I begin this one, let's look at these pictures. This is the courtyard at the Kailasha temple. This is the best example of a rock hewn temple. This is the seated Buddha Chaitya from the cave number 10 at Ellora. Look at the vault, the roof, the pillars. Earlier, this had wooden support, but now it has been removed or it got decayed. Let's say this from the Mahayana sect. Look at the how it has evolved. This is the under. This is the Chaitya. This is the under. Right, and yeah, this is a Chhatra. Harmika is over here, and sometimes it's like in a inverted pyramid. Um, Also, and then there's an image of Buddha in the front, seated Buddha, showing a dharma chakra sutra through his hand gestures is also being shown. All right, so Buddhist caves are big in size and are of single, double, and triple stories. Yeah, so most beautiful thing. So there is this particular cave that I remember. This is called Teen Tal, which is like a triple storied Vihara Chaitya. There are like cells in it as well as prayer areas. It's the most evolved form of the stupa style. Their pillars are massive. Yeah, it's called Teen Tal. Ajanta has also has excavated double-storied caves, but at Ellora, the triple story is a unique achievement. All the caves were plastered and painted, but nothing visible is left. The shrine, Buddha images are big in size. They are generally guarded by the images of Padmapani and Vajrapani. Cave number 12, which is triple storied excavation, has images of Tara, Avilokateshvara, Manushi Buddhas, and the images of Vairochana, Ashokabhaya, Ratna Sambhava, Amitabha, Amog Siddhi, Vajrastava, Vajraraja. On the other hand, the only double story cave of the Brahminical faith, cave number 14, pillar design shows the Buddhist caves, and when they reached the Jaina belonging to the 9th century CE, they became very ornate and decorative form, gained heavy prostitution. The Brahminical caves number 13 to 28 have many sculptures. Many caves are dedicated to Shaivism, but the images of both Shaiva and Vishnu and their various forms according to Puranic narratives are depicted. Among the Shaivite themes, Ravana shaking the Mount Kailasha, Andha, Survadha. This is like Shiva slaying the demon Andhaka, and Kalyana Sundara profusely depicted. There's also like Shiva and Parvati playing a game of dice, and their marriage, and Ganga descending from Shiva. Shiva in both male and female forms. There is Nataraja as well, right? Whereas Vaishvanite themes, the different avatars of Vishnus are depicted, but it's mainly dedicated to the Shiva. This is Gajasura Shiva, yeah, with many hands. All right, and I think there's a serpent on one side, and then he's also holding a mirror, both confluence of the masculine and the feminine, them becoming one. Right. The sculptures at Ellora, Gajasura Shiva, okay, are monumental and have protruding volumes that create deep recession in the picture space. The images are heavy and show considerable sophistication in handling of sculptural volumes. Various guilds at Ellora came from different places like Vidarbha, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and carved the sculptures. Thereby, it is the most diverse site in India in terms of the sculptural styles. Caves number 16 is also known as Kailashaleni. A rock cut temple has been carved out of a single rock, a unique achievement of the artisans, which will be discussed in the next chapter. Among the important Shaivite caves are cave number 29 and cave number 21. The plan of the cave number 29 is almost like the main cave of at Elephanta. It's like a gateway from three sides. The sculptural quality of cave number 29, 21, 17, 14, 16 is amazing for its monumentality and vigorous movements in the picture space. The Bhagha cave consists of Buddhist mural paintings are located 97 kilometers from Dhar district of Madhya Pradesh. These rock cut monuments are not natural but carved over a period of time during the ancient India, mostly during the Satvana period. The Bhagha cave, like those at Ajanta, were excavated by the masterful craftsmen on the perpendicular sandstone rock face of hill across the seasonal stream of Bhaghani. Okay, I do not understand. If we were talking about Ellora, then how come in the middle they shifted to Bhaga? This is very strange. Um, Alright, coming back. Out of the original nine caves, only five have survived, all of which are viharas, are resting places for monks, having a quadrangular plan. A small chamber, usually at the back, forms the chaitya, the prayer hall. Most significant of the five caves is cave number 4, commonly known as Rangamahal, meaning the palace of colors, where paintings on the wall and ceilings are visible. Other caves where the remnants of tempera mural paintings on the wall and ceiling can be seen are cave 2, 3, 5, and 7. Tempera is like we have pigments made of natural elements and minerals in powdered form, and we use a binding base for it. Like the Western traditions have used, generally use egg. Um, yeah, the yolk of the egg, and when it comes to the Indian counterparts, they use glue and gum and raisins as binding materials. The coming back, the ground prepared was a reddish brown, gritty, and thick mud plaster laid out on the walls and ceilings over the plaster. Lime priming was done, on which these paintings were made. Some of the most beautiful paintings were on the wall of the portico. Um, where was I? Portico of cave number 4. To prevent further loss of the values of the Indian art, most paintings were carefully removed in 1982 and today can be seen in the archaeological museums of Gwalior. Okay, we have a museum at Gwalior. We had one at Delhi, Kolkata, Chennai. I've personally been to the Delhi and Kolkata one. Yet to see the Chennai and Gwalior. I didn't know there was a museum at Gwalior to begin with. It's in the northern part of Madhya Pradesh. Now Elephanta Caves. This is entirely. This is of in an island called Elephanta, which is you have to take a ferry from the Gateway of India in Mumbai to reach this place, and this is dedicated to Shaivite tradition. It has in total, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9 paintings which depicts various life events from Shiva's life. And yes, it's in a crucified shape, where like on the left and the right there are two paintings, and on the main wall there are three, and at the entrance there are two. So the Elephanta cave located near Mumbai are dominated by the Shaivite faith. These were sponsored by the Kalchuri Empire. It is contemporary with Allura, and its sculptures show slenderness in the body with stark light and dark effects. Look at the pillars. This is also a rock cut architecture. Entrance to the Elephanta cave. The tradition of rock cut caves continued in the Deccan, and they were found not only in Maharashtra but also in Karnataka, mainly at Badami and Eholi. So I'm not sure about Eholi because this was more like a stone built architecture, and it was a temple dedicated to goddess Durga, executed under the patronage of Chalukya in Andhra Pradesh and the areas of Vijayawada, and in Tamil Nadu mainly at Mahabalipuram is also another stone built example under the patronage of Pallavas, which is by the sea, the Bay of Bengal. The post 6th century development of the art history in the country depended more on political patronage than the collective public patronage of the early historic periods. Mention may also be made of the terracotta figurines that are found at many places all over the country. They show a parallel tradition with the religious lithic sculptures as well as independent local traditions. Many terracotta figures of various sizes are found, which show their popularity. They are toys of religious figures as well as figurines made of healing purposes as part of the belief system. How much time have we spent? We've spent almost about an hour. Alright. So what we can do is we can complete the chapter till here, 19, and then we'll re-begin. Cave tradition in Eastern India. Like in the Western India, Buddhist caves have also been excavated in Eastern India, mostly in the coastal region of Andhra Pradesh and in Odisha. One of the main sites in Andhra Pradesh is Guntapalle in Eluru district. The caves have been excavated in the hills along with structured monasteries. Perhaps it is among the very unique sites where the structured stupas, viharas, and the caves are excavated at one place. This is Udgiri Kandagiri caves near Bhubaneswar in Odisha. It's also a rock cut architecture. Details of veranda Udgiri. Look at the panels in the entrance. This is mostly where there are also columns which gives entry to the light. The Guntapalle Chaitya cave is circular with stupa in the circular hall and Chaitya arch carved at the entrance. The cave is relatively small when compared to the caves in Western India. A number of vihara caves have been excavated. The main vihara cave, despite the small dimensions, have been decorated with Chaitya arches on the exterior. They are rectangular with vaulted roofs and are carved single-storied or double-storied without a large central hall. These excavations date back to the 2nd century BCE. There are some excavations which were added in the subsequent centuries but are all of the vihara type. Apart from Guntapalle, the other important cave site is Rampare I'm so sorry for the pronunciation, but let me just see how it can be pronounced. Ramperapalam, which has very moderate small excavation, but there are rock cut stupas on the hillock. At Ankapalli near Vishakhapatnam, caves were excavated and huge rock cut stupas was carved out of hillock during the 4th and 5th century CE. It is a unique site as it has the biggest rock cut stupas in the country. Many votive rock cut stupas all around the hillock have also been excavated. The rock cut cave tradition also existed in Odisha. The earliest example are the Udgiri Kandagiri caves in vicinity of Bhubaneswar. These caves are scattered and have inscriptions of Karavela Jaina kings. According to the inscription, the caves were meant for Jaina monks. There are numerous single cell excavations. Some have been carved in huge independent boulders and given the shape of animal. The big cave include a cave with a pillared veranda with cells at the back. The upper part of the cells is decorated with a series of chaitya arches and narratives that still continue in the folklores of the region. The figure in the cave are voluminous, move freely in the picture space, and are excellent examples of qualitative carvings. Some cave in the complex were excavated later, sometime in the 8th and 9th century. Describe the physical and aesthetic features of Sanchi Stupa the first. There is Anda, there is Harmika, there is Chatra, then there is the circular path for circumambulation. It starts with a P. I don't recall the name. Analyze the stylistic trends of the sculptures in North India during the 5th and the 6th century. You can go back to it and overview it later. How did the cave architecture develop in different parts of India, from cave shelters to monolithic temples at Ellora, which is like about the rock cut, via mural paintings of the Ajanta renowned, because like it has survived since 1st century BCE. Let me see how much more stupa at Sanchi. How much of. I think let's finish it for once and for all. Why do we have to wait? Mostly there are pictures. This is the Sanchi Stupa. Look at the gateway. It's so enormous. Beautiful. These are the elephants. This looks like the trident. Elephants. Horses. The life story, the Jatakas. Alright, I do not know. How do I basically. Alright, I'm just going to turn my screen and read it. You can also do that. Sanchi, about 50 kilometers from Bhopal, the capital of Madhya Pradesh, is a World Heritage Site, a UNESCO World Heritage Site by what it means. Along with the other relatively small stupas, there are three main stupas at Sanchi. Stupa 1 is presumed to have the relics of Buddha, Stupa 2 the relics of 10 less famous arhats belonging to three different generations. Their names are found on the relic casket. Stupa 3 has the relics of Sariputta and Mahamogalayan. Stupa 1, known for the carvings on its gateways, is one of the finest examples of stupa architecture. It's like a prototype of how a stupa should look like. Originally, the stupa was a small brick structure which expanded over a period and was covered with stone, Vedika, Torana, gateways. The Ashokan lion capital pillar with an inscription is found on the southern side of the stupa, indicating how Sanchi became a center of monastic and artistic activities. The south gateway was made first, followed by the others. The Paradakshina Patha around the stupa is covered with Vedika. There is also upper Paradakshina. You can basically, there's like on the another floor above, which is unique to the site. The four gateways are decorated profusely with sculptures. Buddha is shown symbolically as an empty throne, feet, chhatra, stupa, etc. Toranas are constructed in all four directions. Their stylistic differences indicate the possible chronology from the 1st century BCE onwards. Though Stupa 1 is the oldest stupa, the carving images on the Vedika of Stupa 2 are earlier than those of the Stupa 1. Jatakas also become an important part of the narratives in the stupa. The figures at Sanchi, being small in dimension, show considerable mastery of sculpting. Their physiognomic treatment of the body shows both depth and dimensions, which are very naturalistic. There are guardian images of the pillar and the Shalabhanjika, the lady holding the branch of a tree. Sculptures are remarkable in their treatment of volume. The rigidity of the earlier sculpture of two is no more there. Each torana consists of two vertical pillars and three horizontal bars on the top. Each horizontal bar is decorated with different sculptural themes on the front as well as the back, supporting the extension of lowermost horizontal bar from below are the images of Shalabanjaka, possibly the representation of Maya Devi. Seated Buddha, Katra Mount at Mathura. Look at the drapings, and the Buddha is sitting cross-legged. It's giving blessings. The sculptor, no idea. These are basically his disciples. One is Ananda, and the other one I'm forgetting his name. And these are three lions. Looks like lions. There are two other figures, not sure, and he is sitting under a Bodhi tree. There's a halo around him. Alright. Mathura was a great center for making sculptures during the early historic period, and many images have been found here. A large number of images dating back to the Kushana period is from Mathura. A distinct way of sculpting practice in Mathura makes the images found different from those at other centers in the country. The image of the Buddha from the Katra Mount belongs to the 2nd century CE. It represents Buddha with two Bodhisattva attendants. The Buddha is seated in Padmasana, cross folded legs, and right hand is in Abhya Mudra, raised a little above the shoulder level, whereas the left hand placed on the left, it's towards the ground. The Ushenisha, the hair knot, is shown with a vertical raised position. Mathura sculptures from this period are made with light volumes, having fleshy bodies, very curvaceous. The shoulders are broad. The Sangati garment covers only one shoulder and has been made prominently visible, covering the left hand, whereas while covering the torso, an independent volume and garment is reduced to the body torso. The Buddha is seated on a lion throne. The attendant figures are identified, the image of Padmapani and Vajrapani, Bodhisattva as the one holds a lotus and the other Vajra, thunderbolt. They wear crowns and are on either side of the Buddha. This is Padmapani and Vajrapani, I believe. Or this is Padmapani or Vajrapani, most possibly. The halo around the head of the Buddha is very large and is decorated with simple geometric motifs. These are flying figures placed diagonally above the halo. They bear a lot of movement in the picture space. Flexibility replaces the earlier rigidity in the image, giving them a more earthy look. Curves of the body are also delicately carved. The upright posture of the Buddha image creates movement in space. The face is round with fleshy cheeks. The bulge of the belly is sculpted with controlled musculature. It may be noted that there are numerous examples of sculptures from Kushana period at Mathura, but the image is representative and important for the understanding of the development of the Buddha image in the subsequent periods. This Buddha head at Takshila. Okay, the eyes are a little bigger. Oh, there's a bindi. Look at his lips are more fuller, his ears are elongated, curly hairs, like not as curly as they used to be. Eyebrows almost joining, the nose gives a more Hellenistic style somewhat. The Buddha head from Takshila in Gandhara region now in Pakistan dates back to the 2nd century CE and belongs to the Kushana period. Both of them belong to the Kushana period, I see. The image shows a hair bride-sized pictorial convention. that develops during the Gandhara period. It has a Greco Roman element in the treatment of the sculpture, I told you. It does resemble Hellenistic elements. The Buddha's head has typical Hellenistic elements which have grown over a period of time. The curly hair of the Buddha is thick, having a covert layer of sharp and linear strokes over the head. The forehead plane is large, having protruding eyeballs, and the eyes are half closed, and the face and the cheeks are not round like the images found in the other parts of India. You will find the body to be more angular, I believe. There is certain amount of heaviness in the figures of the Gandhara region. The ears are elongated, especially the earlobes. Treatment of the form bears linearity and outlines are sharp. The surface is smooth. The image is expressive. The interplay of light and dark is given considerable attention by using the curving and protruding planes of the eye socket and the planes of the nose. The expression of calmness is central point of attraction. Modeling of the face enhances the naturalism of three-dimensionality, assimilating various traits of Achaemenian, Parthian, Bactrian traditions into the local tradition is the hallmark of Gandhara style. The Gandhara images have physiognomic features of the Greco-Roman traditions, but they display a very distinct way of treating physiognomic details that are not completely Greco-Roman. The source of development of Buddha images as well as others has its genesis in its peculiar conditions in Western and Eastern style. It may also be observed that the northwestern part of India, now in Pakistan, always had continuous habitation from proto-historic times. It continued in the historical period as well. The large number of images have been found in Gandhara region. They consist of narratives of the life of Buddha, narrations from Jataka stories, and Buddha and Bodhisattva images. State Buddha at Sarnath. Okay, this is like more geometric. This is the Dharma Chakra Sutra. This is like you can draw a wheel around it. He's giving teachings. There are two deers from Sarnath. The representation of Buddha, his disciples, is sitting on a lotus flower. Eyes are closed, elongated ears. The image of Buddha from Sarnath belonging to the late 5th century CE is housed at the museum at Sarnath. It has been made in Chunar sandstone. The Buddha is shown seated on a throne in Padmasana. It represents a Dharma Chakra Parvatana, as can be seen from the figure on the throne. The panel below the throne depicts a chakra wheel. Okay, this is the chakra wheel, I guess. In the center, and a deer on either side with its disciples. Thus, basically, the wheel depicts here. This is the Dharma Chakra wheel. Depicts the teachings of the Buddha. On the either sides with disciples. Thus, it is the representation of historical event of Dharma Chakra Parvatana, or the preachings of the Dhamma. This Buddha image is a fine example of Sarnath school of sculpture. The body is slender and well proportioned, but slightly elongated. The outlines are delicate, very rhythmic. Folded legs are expanded in order to create a visual balance in the picture space. Drapery clings to the body and transparent to create the effect of integrated volume. The face is round and the eyes are half closed. The lower lip is protruding, and the roundness of the cheeks has reduced as compared to the earlier images from Kushana period in Mathura. The hands are shown in Dharma Chakra Parvatana Mudra, placed just below the chest, and the neck is slightly elongated with two incised lines indicating the folds. The Ushanisha had circular curled hairs. The aim of the sculptor in ancient India had always been to represent the Buddha as a great human being who achieved nibbana, cessation of anger and hate. The Back of the throne is profusely decorated with different motifs of flowers and creepers placed in a concentric circle. The central part of the halo is plain without any decoration. It makes the halo visually impressive. Decoration in halo and back of the throne indicates the artisan's sensitivity. The Sarnath Buddha image of this period show considerable softness in the treatment of the surface and the volume. Transparent drapery becomes part of the physical body. Such refinement comes over a period of time, and these features continued in subsequent periods. There are many other Buddha images in the standing position from Sarnath having features like transparent drapery, subtle movement, carved separately, and placed above the memorial stupa around the Dharmajika stupa. I do not know what this particular word means. But moving on, these images are now preserved in the Sarnath Museum. They are either single or with attendant figures of Bodhisattva, Padmapani, and Vajrapani. Padmapani, Bodhisattva, cave number 1. You can see there is a certain calmness in him, there's patience, there's compassion. Look at his eyes. It's like he's almost in a state of solitude and peace, and then he holds Padma, which is the lotus. Here is cave number 2. Not sure what it depicts. This is the paintings of Mahajanaka Jataka, cave Ajanta cave number 1. The paintings on the back wall of interior hall before the shrine antechamber in cave number 1 at Ajanta dates back to the late 5th century CE. The Bodhisattva is holding a Padma lotus, has large shoulders, and has been bent in the body, creating the movement in the picture space. The modeling is soft, outlines are merged with the body, creating the effect of three-dimensionality. The figure of Bodhisattva is wearing a big crown in which detailed rendering is visible. The head is slightly bent to the left. The eyes are half closed and are slightly elongated. The nose is sharp and straight. Light colors all over the projected planes of the face is aimed at creating an effect of three-dimensionality. The beaded necklace too has similar features. Broad and expanded shoulders create heaviness in the body. The torso is relatively round. The lines are delicate, rhythmic, and define the contours of the body. The right hand is holding a lotus, and the left hand is extended in space. The Bodhisattva is surrounded by small figures. The foreshortened right hand of the Bodhisattva makes the image more solid and effectively dense. The thread over the torso is shown with fine spiral lines indicating the dimensions. Each and every part of the body is given equal attention. Light and red, brown, green, blue colors are used. Nose projections, incised end of the lips with lower lip projections, and small chin contributes to the overall effect of solidarity in the figure composition. The painting in cave number 1 are of good quality and are better preserved. One can observe certain typological and stylistic variations in the painting of Ajanta, indicating different guilds of artisans working on the cave at Ajanta over the century. On the other hand, the image of Vajrapani Bodhisattva, which is like polar opposite of Padmapani, has been painted. He holds a Vajra in the right hand and wears a crown. This image also bears the same pictorial qualities as the Padmapani. Cave number 1 has many interesting paintings at the Buddhist themes such as Mahajanaka Jataka, Umanga Jataka, and etc. So one thing that I hate about NCRT is like without giving a proper heading, it seems to change the theme from one theme to another. It just switches instantly and we do not realize what it's talking about exactly. This is not a very well formatted book, I would say. I mean, of course, the topics and themes are very important, but it's kind of rushing through it, where more explanation could have been given. It may be observed that the paintings of Padmapani and Vajrapani, we have to begin from here. The Mahajanaka is painted at the entrance wall and is the biggest narrative painting. It may be observed that the painting of Padmapani and Vajrapani and the Bodhisattva painted as shrine gardens, similar such as iconographic arrangements, is also observed in other caves of Ajanta. However, Padmapani and Vajrapani in cave number 1 are among the best survived paintings of Ajanta. This is the Mara Vijaya Ajanta cave. Mara is like all kinds of evils, and he overcomes that. Most probably is depicted um, through the image of a snake, but I'm not sure. Look at the painting here. These are all kinds of evils around him, and he has basically had a Vijay over them. The theme of Mara Vijay has been painted in the cave of Ajanta. This is the only sculptural representation sculpted on the painting, sculpted on the right wall of cave number 626. It is sculpted near the colossal Buddha image of the Mahaparinibbana. The panel shows the image of Buddha in center, surrounded by Mara's army along with his daughter. The daughters, he had three daughters who were trying to seduce him into giving into lust. The event is part of the Enlightenment. It is a personification of the commotion of the mind which the Buddha went through at the time of Enlightenment. Mara represents a desire. According to the narrative, there is a dialogue between Buddha and Mara, and Buddha is shown with his right hand indicating towards earth as a witness to its generosity. The relief's sculptural panel is highly animated and shows a very matured sculptural style at Ajanta. The composition is very complex with highly voluminous images. The complex arrangement in the picture space is highly dynamic and generates considerable movement. The figure on the right shows Mara coming with the army, consisting of various kinds of people, including some with grotesque animal faces. The dancing figures at the lower base with musicians have forwarded bulging waist, and one of the dancing figure has expanded her hands in the dancing posture with an angular frontal look. On the left lower end, the image of Mara is shown contemplating how to disturb Siddhartha, the name of the Buddha before enlightenment. The army of Mara is shown marching towards the Buddha in the first half of the panel, whereas the lower half of the panel shows the departing army of Mara giving him adorations. The centrally placed Buddha is in Padmasana, and a tree at the back is shown by the dense leaves. Some of the facial features of the Mara army has tacit characters of the sculpture from Vidarbha. The artisans at the Ajanta worked in guilds in their stylistic afflictions. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, coming back, can be traced, identifying. So tacit is like it's understood and it's implied, and it doesn't have to be stated. All right. My stylistic features. This is the largest sculptural panel at Ajanta, though there are several big images in the cave of Ajanta, and especially located in the shrine antechamber as well as facade walls. Such a complex arrangement of the figures is unique. On the other hand, painted panels exhibit such complexities in their arrangements. A similar kind of arrangement of dancing figures in a panel is also observed at Aurangabad caves. This is the Mahesh Murti. Okay, there are like three heads of Buddha. This is the Kam, this is the Vajrapani, and this like in between in a meditative state. Different expressions, moods. Right, I'll just try to turn my tablet, and I would recommend you to do the same. The image of Mahesha Murti at Elephanta dates back to the early 6th century CE. It is located at the main cave shrine in the tradition of the Western Deccan sculpting at the Stupa Hill. There's a place called Stupa Hill, and Cannon Hill is also there at Elephanta. It is one of the best examples of qualitative achievement in sculpting images and rock cut caves. The image is large in size. The central head is the main Shiva figure, whereas the other two visible heads are of Bhairava and Uma. I'm so sorry. I think I have misunderstood Shiva as Buddha. He's not exactly Buddha. There is Bhairava and there is Uma. Right? The central face is high relief, having a round face, thick lips, and heavy eyelids, though a lower lip is prominently protruded, showing a very different characteristics. Basically, it has. Alright, I won't get into it. But yeah, there are more faces of Shiva than that appears on the eyes. There are two behind and one above as well, which are not visible to us. Only these three are visible. Right. This is all-inclusive aspect of Shiva is exhibited in the sculpture by a soft molding, smooth surface and large face. The face of Shiva Bhairava is clearly shown in a profile and anger with bulging eye and moustache. The other face showing feminine characters is of Uma, who is a consort of Shiva. One of the Shilpa texts mentions 5 integrated faces of Shiva, and the image depicts being shown with only 3 faces is considered as the same variety, and the top and the back faces are deemed as invisible. Each variety has a different crown as per the iconographic prescription. The sculpture has been sculpted on the southern wall of the cave, along with the sculpture of Ardhanarishwara and Gangadhara panel. Elephanta sculptures are shown for their remarkable qualities of the surface smoothness, elongation, and rhythmic movements. Their composition is very complex. The iconographic arrangements of this cave is replicated in cave number 29 at Ellora. These are some mural traditions in India. Ajanta from, this is A. Ajanta from Ananda Padma temple at Kasargod. Beautiful. Ananta, not Ajanta. B is Shiva chasing the boar, a scene from Kiratar Junia Lepaksh temple. Alright. C, this one. Chola King Rajaraja. His real name was Arul, by the way, and he was the younger son of the father. The other one was killed during a battle. No, the other one was, the elder brother was murdered, basically. And while his uncle played a conspiracy against him. The court poet Kavar Devar, Tanjavur, 11th century. His son's name was, Rajraja's son's name was Rajendra, I believe. This is Shiva killing Tripura Vasura, Tanjavur. Right. E is Rama kills Ravana, seen from Ramayana panel, Panchari Palace. Right. This is Shasta Padma Puram Palace, Thakala. Alright, I guess we're done. I'm so sorry for the extension of our time. Basically, the lecture was so long. I hope it helped you. And later on, we'll move to chapter number 5.